Hey, the graphic designers. Today we're going to look at creating the crazy advertisement. We're going to start off by looking at a couple of examples here. So these are prior students' work from the past, and your goal is to take and combine two different things that nobody would ever want to take and use. So we got hand lotion that is poison ivy. So you can see that we stamp tooled out the label that was right here beforehand. We got the poison ivy leaf in there. We did some text along the bottom. Same with along right up here. Our goal is to sort of make it look like a finished advertisement when we're done. So we want to start with an advertisement as our first image and then remove stuff from it and build stuff into it. So we got our Soggy Surprise goldfish right here with real goldfish. One of my favorites, the fruit roll-up toilet paper with the tattoos. Salt and pepper or black pepper toothpaste. And the Johnson's Abrasive body bar. So the first thing we're going to take and do is on the website right here. If you click on this link, it will take you to this page right here where you're going to take and come up with 5 different ideas of things that you can possibly use. So make sure they're completely different ideas. Don't do like toothpaste for all 5 of them with just 5 different flavors. Try and come up with different product ideas for each of them. And then I'll sort of look through them and give you guys some feedback. If you're having trouble taking and coming up with ideas, just do a Google search for advertisements, whether it's for personal care products, drinks, food, and sort of look at what advertisements are out there and then sort of think about how you can take and manipulate and change them. Once you got this filled out and I give you some feedback, you're going to start downloading the images and working on them. So I'm going to flip over to Photoshop right here. I got this bubble tea advertisement that I'm going to start with, and we're going to work some actual bubbles into there so it's got that real bubble flavor. So to begin with, I need to take and begin removing the things that I need to from this one. So I'm going to take and duplicate my original just like I always do in case I have a mess up. I'm going to Photoshop some of these little bubbles out that are right here to get my real bubbles in there. I have room for some text that's going to be right down in here. So I'm going to make a new layer with nothing on there. We've learned the stamp tool in the past. We're going to take a look at the healing brush right here. So if I click and hold on it, that's my healing brush right here. We can also use the spot healing. With the spot healing, I want to make sure sample all layers is on. With the healing brush, we're going to, just like the stamp tool, make sure we're set for all layers. And this works very much like the stamp tool. The only difference is that it will color blend for you. So if I hold my Alt button, I click over here. As I go around, we can see it's grabbing some of the white down there. So it's not the cleanest. Unless I take and go with a larger brush, where I'm going to do that whole thing sort of at once. I'm going to set that hardness up. Grab here, drop it there, and it does a pretty good job at covering it up for me. So again, depending on what you're getting rid of and how you're taking and doing this, you might use the stamp tool, you might use the healing brush tool. It all sort of depends on what you're going for here. You see it doesn't necessarily do the greatest job there because it's bringing that chocolate up and down for us. So maybe I just go with the regular stamp tool for this one. Again, making sure I'm on those all layers. And we're just doing some removing of these pieces here. Doesn't look quite right, so maybe I take and stamp tool some of that chocolate back in there, or maybe I take from over here and throw a couple of extra bubbles somewhere in here. Maybe I'll do it on a separate layer, so that this way if I grab this guy again and put him over here or over here to take and sort of cover up some of these, I now have the ability, because it's on a new layer, to take and rotate it with that transform tool, giving it a little bit of a different look. But I would continue to take and remove parts of it that I don't want, making sure that I'm using proper layer management so that it's non-destructive. I come over here, make a selection of my bubble. I'm going to mask it so that this way, if I need to bring parts of it back or get rid of it later on, I can. Bring this in. So it's really large right now. I'll do my edit transform. Shrink it down. And maybe start working some of these into here. So again, playing with the size a little bit. Making copies. So I come down here and duplicate it a couple of times. Take each one, move it around. Maybe they're smaller when they're closer in here. And I could even position them on top of some of these guys here too if I wanted to. So we get some smaller ones, we get some larger ones. Sort of place them around in here. And again, I would keep going with this, adding more in there. Maybe get like the Wonder Bubble logo and bring it in over here. Maybe grab a couple of different bubbles where they're a little bit more see-through to work into here. But then if I want to add more text, I'm going to go to a website called dafont.com right here. This is one that has a bunch of free fonts on it. So looking at the font that's in my original one here, it's sort of got that like signature type look. So if I come back to that Dafont, I could type in signature, or I can just sort of search through what's here. So I did my search for signature right here. I typed in bubble, set it for 200, do a search. This one sort of looks like what we're looking for, so I'm going to download this one. Open it up. You're looking for a true type font, a TTF or an OTF. We can double click, and once you double click, we can hit install. And it's called CarStar. So if I come back to Photoshop over here, if I grab my text tool, and say with real bubble flavor, maybe make that a little bit larger, and we're going to double click on it, get it highlighted, and if I do that search for CarStar, it pops up right here. So again, I can make it larger. We can play with this transform tool in here, and we could say skew it a little bit. And when skewing it, that'll let me sort of move it over to the side, give it a little bit of an angle like the rest of it do if I wanted to. I could keep searching, looking for a better font if I wanted to. Something that maybe fits a little bit better, is a little bit cleaner. But sort of work that in there underneath it. Again, maybe adding some logos in there, maybe adding a bottle of bubbles, or maybe one of these comes out and a bottle of bubbles comes in over here. So it's just that sort of continually removing parts of it, adding parts of it in there so that you get that realistic looking advertisement when you're done for something that you absolutely would never want to take and try.